Nobody warns you about the darker aspects of van life. They show you the campfires, the sunsets, and the sense of freedom, but they don't show you the nights you lie awake, heart pounding because you hear footsteps outside your van at 2 a.m. They don't reveal the breakdowns, not just the mechanical ones under the hood, but the breakdowns inside your own mind. They don't tell you how the road can be just as lonely as it is beautiful. Honestly, I almost gave up, but facing that darkness changed me. It brought out something in me that I didn't know was there. If you're dreaming about or already pursuing this lifestyle, you deserve to know what's waiting for you. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. Today, I'm sharing the parts of van life that nobody prepares you for. The breakdowns, both mechanical and mental, the fear, and the financial challenges. These are the aspects that rarely get talked about, and if you're ready to hear it, you're prepared for the road. Loneliness wasn't something I considered when I began my journey. After years of camping, hiking, and spending time in the wilderness, I thought I knew how to be alone, and believed I was ready for it. However, as I soon discovered, van life is not merely just about solitude. It offers a unique experience of silence that goes beyond anything I had ever known. This silence allows you to hear the whispers of the wind, the rustle of the leaves, and the distant calls of birds. It creates a profound sense of peace and a sense of connection to the world around you. The first time I felt this was when I was isolated in the desert. I had driven all day and was exhausted. I parked miles away from the nearest town, thinking it would feel peaceful. But as night fell, the quiet wrapped around me like a heavy weight. There were no headlights on the horizon, no voices, just the wind softly tapping against the van. Deep inside, a tiny question whispered, what if you're alone out here forever? What if this was the wrong decision? Initially, I tried to fill the empty space with distractions. Podcasts, audiobooks, scrolling through old photos on my phone, just anything to divert my mind. But eventually, all those distractions ran out. When they did, I had to confront parts of myself that I had been avoiding and embrace the wisdom of the void. The best places to park while living in a van are often far from others, on the edge of society, as town residents typically don't appreciate it when we park nearby. This lifestyle can be challenging. Confronting your emotions while sitting alone is difficult. It wasn't just the physical isolation that weighed on me. It was also how society began to view me differently. When someone discovered that I had no permanent address, I was treated differently. I was no longer seen as an adventurer. I was labeled as homeless. In places like Santa Barbara, I immediately felt the change in people's expressions and body language. Conversations would end more quickly. While people don't always voice it, you can sense the change in their demeanor, even when they don't know who you are. After experiencing this enough times, it becomes increasingly complex to reach out to anyone. The societal challenges of van life are real, and often misunderstood. Fortunately, there are communities, van life meetups and nomad gatherings, where people understand and empathize with each other. These communities are a lifeline for many of us, providing a sense of belonging and understanding that can be hard to find in traditional society. Society tends to structure itself in a way that forces people to live in one place, making life difficult for those who don't conform to the status quo. These groups offer support, friendship, and a shared love for the open road. Finding those communities was a lifesaver for me. However, reintegrating fully back into society is harder than anyone tells you. It creates another kind of loneliness, the kind you carry even when surrounded by people. Once you experience this, it becomes challenging to assimilate in the same way ever again. My first real wake-up call came to me in Oregon, somewhere between a forgotten gas station and a town so small it barely had a name. I found myself miles away from anywhere when I felt it. The unexpected slow and dragging pull to the right. I pulled over onto the shoulder, stepped out, and discovered a flat tire. All around me were empty fields, with the sun beginning to dip toward the horizon. Changing a tire isn't complicated, but out there, alone, with no cell service or backup plan, even simple tasks can feel overwhelming. That wasn't the last breakdown that I experienced, not by a long shot. Over the years, the road has taught me lessons the hard way. I've had my engine sputter out while going up on high mountain passes, and my battery die unexpectedly. Out here in Colorado, my battery has failed me twice because of how cold it's been up here. Luckily, I had a battery starter tucked away, just enough to keep me moving when needed. But the worst incident happened when I was still working a full-time job. It was midweek, and I was driving back from a long shift when the radiator failed. Steam poured out from under the hood, and the smell of burning coolant filled the air. With it came the slow, sinking realization that no one was coming to save me. That breakdown cost me over $1,000. That night, I slept in the repair shop, curled up in the van and breathing in the oily air. I set alarms on my phone to ensure I would show up early for work the next morning. The financial burden was heavy, a stark reminder of the true cost of breakdowns. Breakdowns don't wait for a convenient moment. They don't care if you're tired, low on money, barely holding it together, or dealing with increased stress after working a long shift with people who stress you out. After enough breakdowns, you realize something brutal and straightforward. The road isn't just testing your vehicle, it's testing you. It doesn't happen all at once. The breaking point. The combination of various stressors creeps up on you slowly. It sneaks up on you after too many nights of poor sleep, too many setbacks, and a million invisible minor cuts that you thought you could just brush off. After enough breakdowns, the cracks stop being mechanical. These mechanical breakdowns gradually morph into internal struggles. I didn't notice it right away. At first, it was the little things. Losing patience more quickly, feeling the weight of decisions that used to feel easy, and experiencing self-doubt. Questions like where to park, what route to take, or where to spend my last $50, gas or groceries, suddenly felt impossible. The road, the repairs, and the isolation started to stack on each other, until even small things felt like battles I wasn't sure I could win. And underneath it all, there was the money. Nobody tells you that van life isn't free. They show you the sunsets, the mountaintop mornings, and the campfires. But they don't show you the maintenance bills, the gas prices, and the constant worry of what if something else breaks in the back of your mind. Every mile costs something. Every wrong turn, every freezing night eats up fuel just to stay warm. If you don't budget carefully out here and don't plan for the unexpected, you're not chasing freedom anymore. You're chasing survival. The weight of that invisible cost stacks alongside everything else, until it's not just the road wearing your van down. It's wearing you down. There were times I sat in the driver's seat, long after I turned off the ignition, too tired to move, too exhausted to think, just staring out at the darkness, as if it might swallow me whole. And the worst part is that nobody could see it happening. Nobody was there to help me. On the outside, I was the guy still living the dream. The sunsets, the freedom, the open road. But inside, the loneliness, the pressure, the financial strain, and the endless low-grade fear kept building quietly and steadily, underneath everything. It didn't feel like I was chasing freedom anymore. It felt like I was evading collapse. Pushing through your lowest points isn't heroic when you're in the thick of it. It often feels like stubbornness. It feels like survival. You feel like you have no idea what you're doing. But sometimes survival is enough to open the door to something greater. After that night, the night that I almost gave up, nothing changed overnight. I didn't wake up feeling different the next day. There was no grand comeback. There was just a choice, followed by another, and another after that. Each decision, no matter how small, was a step forward, guided by the energy of the reality that I chose to see in my life. I started where I was, using what I had. I sold stock footage from my travels, and filmed user-generated content for brands, capturing weddings and live events with the camera gear that I had with me. It was a process of discovery, a journey of hope, hard work, and optimism as I found new ways to move forward, little by little. At 32, after years spent chasing other dreams, music and healthcare, I made a decision that scared me more than sleeping in the cold ever had. I went back to college. I realized deep down I had the right to build a life on my own terms. I chose possibility over fear, shifted from mere survival, and started building the life that I wanted. That slow rebuilding process led me somewhere I never expected, to a true passion for natural resource management, protecting the same landscapes that had tested, challenged, and reshaped me. Freedom wasn't something waiting for me at the end of some distant road. It wasn't out there at all. I built it inside myself, one rigid, stubborn, beautiful mile at a time. Now when I turn the key and pull onto some quiet highway at sunset, it's not about escaping anymore. It's not about chasing some idea of freedom that someone else sold to me. It's about moving forward, with open eyes, a stronger heart, and a life I'm still building, one imperfect step at a time. The road is still out there. The mountains rise in the distance, and the nights get cold. The miles often stretch farther than I can see. Life doesn't magically become easier just because you survive the storm. The challenges remain. The feelings don't disappear. Doubts still find ways to creep in if you allow them. I'm not running anymore. I'm not chasing freedom as if it's a destination waiting at the end of a map. I'm not living for the next sunset, the next town, or the next fleeting sense of peace. I'm living for something deeper now, something I carry everywhere. True freedom isn't something you stumble across on the horizon. It's something you build, choice by choice, mile by mile, day after day, within your heart. You construct it in the moments nobody sees. When you get up again after failing. When you take the next breath even though you're exhausted. And when you believe in the future. You can't quite see it yet, but you can feel the energy that it takes to reach. I used to think the road would shape me, but I've come to realize that I've shaped myself. The road merely revealed what was inside me all this time. The quiet resilience, the stubborn hope, and the willingness to begin again and again, no matter how many times it felt impossible. The truth is, every one of us has that same strength waiting inside. It doesn't matter if you live in a van, an apartment, or at the brink of your next great unknown. The road ahead will always be uncertain, but so is every great story. If you can keep moving and choose to build your life rather than merely survive it, then you're already free, no matter where that road takes you.